with 81 stolen bases. And the first one in there for a ball, 1-0. There's a ground ball to the glove of the shortstop, fired across. That one's never one away.
I always say the first game in a series is like a chess match. You want your pitchers to go right at them. You want your hitters to prove that they're great hitters. And you kind of see what happens in between the lines. And I think, for Shelby Walters here, you want her to go right at these Florida hitters, make them prove themselves, allow Georgia's defense to have Shelby's back here.
2 pitches for the out. Here is Corby Otis. Otis, a .448 hitter here in her junior campaign. Skylar Wallace waits on deck. Inside, 1-1. Gators are 37-11 on the season, 12-6 in the SEC, coming into the weekend's action, 3rd place in the conference standings. A 1-1 in there for a strike, 1-2. Georgia, meanwhile, 36-11, 10-8 in the SEC, 5th place entering the weekend. So with 2 weekends left in conference play, it's a big weekend to try to position yourself here for tournament seeding in the 1-2. That one misses, 2-2.
Absolutely. During this time of the season, getting closer to postseason, you want to see your team kind of put all the pieces together and, continue to progress and make adjustments as you move through and move into postseason.
That one just misses, and the count runs full, 3-2. Brian Crochet is our home plate umpire here tonight. James Colsey is at first, Matt Dial at third. 3-2, this one off the end of the bat, that one to the gap in right. Turning, we mentioned they're aggressive on the base pass. She'll slide into second. And it's a sliding double with 1 away for Corby Otis. Man, it looked like she was going the whole way.
When you hit that ball and it's in front of you, that's great base running because you can see that, you can tell the body language, you can tell how the outfielder is going to get the ball. And if you can pick up on something early and you don't stop your stride, majority of the time you're going to be safe because they have to catch the ball, they have to get to the ball, catch the ball, and then make a great throw. And then the defender has to then catch and then make a tag. So there's a lot more that has to happen for you to get out than if you see something and just go.
That one's going to get her. Came in there on that right arm, it looked like, and so first and second with 1 away.
I think it's important as a player, as a pitcher, in this type of game, high intensity, the balls are going to get hit. They're going to score. Both teams are really powered offenses. How do we respond to that? And starting the game off with a double, you get an out, then you double, then a hit by pitch. You want to be able to lessen the free bases. If somebody does get a hit, you want to try to get an out, obviously, the next at bat. You don't want to give free bases, walks, hit by pitches.
That's how things kind of start multiplying and adding up and get you. You're going to give a run or 2 up here, but you want it to be a 1-run sting versus a 3 or 4 run blow.
And you want to make them earn it.
Yeah. Erickson behind here, 0-2 is the catcher. Cleanup hitter is .390 here this season.
And you'll see Shelby Walters here really spread the zone. She has a lot of movement pitches. She pitches high 60s. She'll go to her rise, but one of her best pitches that she has the most confidence is her changeup.
Off the end of the bat, that one drops in. Turning around is Otis. And she'll plate the first run of the game as Skylar Wallace will stop at third. And it's an RBI for Jocelyn Erickson. Well, a heck of an attempt there by Sarah Mosley at third.
Game of inches. And like we talked about at the beginning, it's going to come down to run production. If you get people on a hit or a hit by pitch, who can get those runners in? The last 3 weekends, both teams have struggled being able to get runners in when they get them on.
So an RBI double for Jocelyn Erickson. She stands at second. Wallace at third after she drives Otis in. And this one pulled foul right down the line.
There's not a lot of things that scare me, and I wouldn't even say I'm scared of this right now, but when you have some righty hitters, if they get inside pitches, they turn on them really, really hard. And if you're at third base, you want to obviously stay foul because you don't want to get, But there's certain hitters that you're like, I'm not actually going to get a lead off here. I'm gonna be at least 60 feet away if she does pull this ball down.
Could come at you really quickly.
Yeah. 70 miles an hour, maybe minimum.
Don't want to find out what an exit velo feels like. 1-2 goes outside. Count even now, 2-2.
I think here Walters just needs to settle down a little bit. Florida swing the bat, obviously. Walters trusts her pitches, trusts her spin, and really try to solidify the strike zone here.
This one is popped to short. We'll find the glove of Emily Armistead for the second out. That'll bring up Bailey Goddard.
And Walters is her best when she can just throw and hit good locations. Like that one was up and in on the hands. You get them jammed, pop up to your shortstop. And that's what she wants. And then she can go with her changeup, catch them off guard. But really working outside of the zone and really being able to hit her locations well.
Goddard, the senior right fielder, a 295 hitter. Took the first one tight inside. And that one will miss, 2-0. That one will miss, and the home crowd a little restless there.
Yeah, and that's what's important about the first inning is really kind of going hard at the hitters, establishing a good zone. But then you have to be able to navigate if that zone isn't what you want it to be with your pitches.
3-0, that one misses. She'll walk on 4 straight. Now the bases are loaded with 2 out.
And sometimes you have no answer. You know, and you give up walks, and I think that's when you have to trust your defense a little bit extra.
Yep.
Not a great place to be, and the start of this game. But Walters here just needs to stay in it, grind through this, figure it out, and figure out what that strike zone is going to be.
Brown looks at the ball, 1-0. Brown also a very talented pitcher. And that allowed conversation with Tim Walton there at third base. That allowed Walters and Lindy Ray Davis to have a chat, maybe get on the same page. And as the 1-0 misses.
That one was low. I think still hearing some upset Georgia fans for that, but
they're kind of amped up now.
Yeah, everything's going to be a strike at this point.
Ground ball, that one's back up the middle. 1 run's going to score. Here comes the second in. Throw to the plate's cut off. Throw back to second. Gets away, and she'll be back safely. There is Bailey Goddard. And 2 runs come in off the bat of Ava Brown here in the first, and it is 3-0 Florida.
And when you have a tight strike zone, the unfortunate part of that is a lot of times you feel like you have to bring the ball back over the plate, and pitchers know that. And if I'm Tim Walton in that case with bases loaded, I'm telling my hitter, be aggressive. If you get a good pitch, be aggressive. Otherwise, let it go. Because right now it's either a ball or it's a strike.
Yep.
Like, there's not a lot of close. He's not giving her a lot of those close pitches right now.
It is a tight zone here so far tonight from Brian Crochet. Georgia has had action in the bullpen.
And I think, again, with these types of offenses, you don't want to get too set on one pitcher for the entire game.
Twisted foul out of play.
You want to be ready to bring somebody else in, because some days, like this first inning, this isn't something that happens often, but it can happen. And so you want to be prepared. You don't want it to get too ugly too soon. So you want to be able to have somebody come in relief.
Inside, in there for a strike, 2-2. Loudest cheer from this Georgia crowd all day.
They are excited. Seems like ages ago they got a called strike.
2-2 is swung on and missed for strike 3. Florida will strand 2, but Plates will bat fourth in the cleanup spot here tonight. And that one's in there for a strike to Dallas Goodnight. Outside, 1-1 to the Georgia center fielder. Goodnight, the junior from Decula, Alabama transfer.
And she has been on fire the last couple series. She's really proven herself, been playing center field, a leader on this team, worked her way back up to the beginning of the lineup, and really has been a force to be reckoned with as the leadoff hitter. Walks, putting some bunts down in key situations, getting some clutch hits, getting some big RBIs in clutch situations the last couple weekends. So Georgia is certainly looking for her to be a leader in that sense to start their lineup off. And not to mention, she's really fast, and she can also steal the bases as well.
If she gets aboard, she's certainly a threat. 12 for 15 on the season with stolen bases. Turns on the 2-2. This one will get out of play. Count full now, 3-2. Fought off. This one will drop inside the line. Fielded in left by Otis, and the leadoff hitter is aboard for Georgia. And the speedy Dallas Goodnight.
And you know she wanted to take two on that. And she was thinking about it. As she rounded first, she was thinking about it, but they got the ball in too quickly. So it was a smart choice. Sometimes less is more.
Especially early.
Yeah.
And that's already created some conversation here on the infield as Erickson's out to talk with her pitcher, and Tony Baldwin pulling his batter and his base runner together to talk about how they want to work this opportunity with a leadoff runner aboard. Tony Baldwin there for Georgia.
And I think this is a key situation here. You go down 3-0 first inning. What is your team made of? You have plenty of time. You start the game off with a hit. Now what? How can we capitalize on these situations, on these key moments, and answer back for the 3-0 deficit from the first inning? You can't get too big on the situation and be like, oh no, 3-0, right? Each inning, each moment, you have different opportunities to create opportunities for your team to score.
Jaden Goodwin, native Kentuckian. Stares down the 1-1. She'll take a cut at it 1-2. This one is sent to the glove of the second baseman. The play is at first. But that'll advance Goodnight into scoring position as she slides into second. And a productive at bat there for Jaden Goodwin, one away.
In that situation, that's what you want. As a lefty hitter with a runner on first, you want to be able to hit the ball behind her so you don't get that double play. If you hit it to third base or shortstop, that's an automatic for the majority of the time to get that out at 2. And so then you're able to move the runner into scoring position and essentially sacrificing yourself at first.
Yeah.
But saving it from getting into a double play because she did hit that ball really hard.
Rothrock offers the first one. And Jada Kearney. We mentioned Kearney and Reagan Walsh tied for the SEC lead in home runs with 15. So, you know, Florida is certainly aware of her. 2-0.
And I think it's important, you put an asterisk next to people's names, be aware, be, cognizant of the fact that they are a great hitter. But if I'm a coach, I don't want to tell my players that to have them shy away from going right at them, because I think it's important to know the strengths of your opponents, but not shy away from attacking those strengths and making those hitters really prove how good of a hitter they really are.
4-pitch walk for Jada Kearney. Puts runners at first. Mosley with 13 home runs on the season. Certainly a bat to be cognizant of here for this Florida pitching staff. Senior from LJ playing in her final regular season home series this weekend. .312 average on the season.
And you'll see Rothrock really use her screwball to go inside on these righties, but also likes to use her rise ball.
Ground ball.
Got Mosley there with her screwball.
Double play postseason.
Yeah, they're a fairly younger team when you compare them to Georgia, but on paper their numbers are crazy. I mean, they have huge offensive numbers this year. So a lot of output from that. Their pitchers, they have their freshman pitcher Rothrock has been hands down, and Coach Tim Walton said this, she's just been the rock. Like, she's been there in all of their games, and he said they're exactly where he expected them to be. It's not easy playing in the SEC. It's certainly really competitive.
Called strike 3 on Mia Williams to open the second. First strikeout of the contest here for Shelby Walters.
And you should see Walters going with her changeup. She has tons of confidence in that changeup, and you see her just knees buckle right there, not expecting it. She hasn't thrown it a lot yet, which is great because you can just pull it out whenever you want. So really look for Shelby Walters to do that for the rest of the game. Really go to her changeup.
Kendra Falby, center fielder, grounded out to open the game. Part of a 3-run first inning for Florida.
think after the first inning, they can take a deep breath. First inning's over, figure out the strike zone, put some swings on the ball. And now we can really compete, go at the hitters, play some defense.
To left center on the run. Both Goodwin and Goodnight, and it'll be the left fielder Goodwin tracking it down for the out, 2 away.
And you can see they both were going towards that ball. They wanted the ball, but as that ball kept moving, it was tailing towards left center. And you know they had good communication on that. You can see Goodnight kind of fall back off that ball, and Goodwin be able to go catch that and go right into the wall.
Here's Corby Otis, who got things going for Florida there in the first with a 1-out double. Inside 1-1.
She's not only hitting .448, but she also has 42 walks. So her last at bat, she got all the way to a 3-2 count, ended up getting that double. But she's on base a lot from just free bases from walks. So she has a great eye.
She's walked 42 times this season and has struck out just 12. A disciplined hitter. .448 is the junior, as that one outside, 3-1.
You can kind of tell she's just calm, just in the box, calm, but obviously very competitive, very aggressive, a great hitter with a great eye. But you can tell she's just calm in the box. And pitchers notice that.
There's a ground ball to short. She tried to leg it out, couldn't get there in time, but it's a 1-2-3 inning for Florida. A lot of offensive categories that this Georgia squad is very high on the list on.
I think an important lesson is not how you start, but how you finish. And although it's important how you start a little bit with who you play, your RPI, all those types of factors, but you're going to go through your season. You're going to go through lulls. It's just a part of the process of playing on a team sport in a long season. And I think as you get closer to postseason, putting those pieces together, that's what it's all about, and winning at the right time. And for both of these teams, I think that's what they're looking to do. And this is a great series to kind of catapult them going into postseason.
When you saw the numbers there for Georgia, top 9 strength of schedule and RPI, that put some really quality competition, especially in the non-conference, and did really well against the non-conference slate before SEC play started. Then, of course, have played some really good teams in conference, which certainly helps that strength of schedule a little bit. But if Georgia's able to go on a little bit of a run here late in the season, win these next 2 SEC series, nobody's really going to think about much. They're going to be primed going in to the postseason, and the 3-1 misses. It's a leadoff walk here for Lindy Ray Davis.
Yeah, again, it's about winning at the end, and how do we get to where we want to go, and continuing to progress as a team, continuing to maintain. I think with a long season, you think about injuries, you think about, different sicknesses or and you never know when it's going to come up, but you have to be able to have your team locked in to the process and locked in to where they want to be in June. Do they want to be at home sitting on the couch, or do they want to be in Oklahoma City? And I think regardless of strength of schedule, what it's been, no days off with the SEC. Every weekend has been super intense, super competitive, some really great games, and there's small room for error. 1-run games, comes down to 1 pitch, 1 hit, and know what you're great at, really capitalize on your strengths, but continue to progress as a team.
You never really arrive. As the 2-0 misses 3-0. Maybe if you're holding the trophy.
I was going to say,
in June.
unless you arrive to the trophy, stand at the end and you can hold up the big wooden trophy they give out, you've arrived. But until then, you're always on call, always looking for something else to get better at and compete, and everybody's trying to do the same thing you are. So how can you do it a little bit better every week?
Back-to-back walks here for Georgia in the second. And Rothrock giving up walks on 3-1 counts. And so 2 on, nobody out. And Sydney Chambly will be the batter. Chambly gets jammed on the first one.
Yeah, Rothrock going with her rise ball in on a lefty. Check swing there. Maybe she thought it was a little bit lower. So yeah, I think it's going to come down to scoring when you have the chance to, getting people in scoring position, situational hitting, and then on defense, not giving up free bases, hit by pitches, or walks, because with a high-powered offense, it's one swing can change a game.
Georgia down 3-0 is a swing away from totally changing the tone of the game as the 1-2 goes outside, 2-2.
And a lot of times that's what happens when you walk people. You end up giving up that big hit that completely changed the game, and so you want to keep those at a low number, especially with a high-powered offense like Georgia.
This one is hit to left center. This one keeps tailing back at the warning track. The catch is made by Falby. Boy, you talk about a big hit there. Chambly nearly knocked the Raptors off of Jack Turner Stadium.
Make the clouds come down.
Well hit, but just missing a 3-run home run, chasing Kendra Falby all the way to the warning track. That's the first out of the inning. So first and second with 1 away, and here's the freshman Emily Digby.
The one thing I did see on that play, with runners at first and second, you have a hitter up. She hits a deep fly ball to the fence. You have no outs. As the runner on second base, what I'm thinking is
out to the circle to talk with her pitcher, and you saw Mackenzie Wooten in the bullpen for Florida.
both pitchers so far have maybe struggled a little bit, really solidifying what the strike zone is, maybe a little bit tighter than they'd like or than they're used to. And I think you're seeing that with the high pitch count, with the number of walks that we've seen thus far. And that's just something that you're going to have to, as a pitcher, that you have to deal with sometimes. The strike zone is not always the same, but you got to figure out a way to be successful.
Swung on and missed for strike three. First strikeout of the contest for Rothrock. And there's two away.
And Rothrock using that rise ball to go upstairs, get her with two strikes. And that's what you want to do maybe when the umpire's not giving you what you want. Trust your strengths, and her rise ball is one of them.
So Georgia had 2 on, nobody out, back-to-back outs here. And here's the 9-hitter, Ellie Armistead. Popped up. And that'll do it for the Georgia threat in the second. 2 innings in the books, 3-0 game. Final regular season homestand for Georgia this season. And Shelby Walters, who looked much more comfortable in the second inning, going 1-2-3, offers a strike to get things started here to Skylar Wallace.
Again, I go right at them and, you know, make them prove it, make them earn it. And I think she did well with that in the second inning. And here starting Skylar Wallace off with a strike. You start off with what you know is going to be a strike, and then you can utilize your movement pinches, east-west, north-south. She has her off speed. So being able to trust those, trust your spin, and just be able to pitch, but you're ahead. It's hard pitching with a tight strike zone when you get behind early in the count, because you're going to have to bring that ball over the white, and that's when Florida's going to swing that bat. They're going to make you pitch more pitches, and like you saw the first inning.
Back-to-back fouled over to left.
And Walters is ahead right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her off speed or something far out of the zone with a 1-2 count here. You don't want to give Skylar Wallace anything close on the white with those foul balls we just saw. Skylar Wallace has 35 walks on this season, so she has a great eye too, as well as being able to hit the ball, home runs. So you want to go right at them.
Sends this one back up the middle for a base hit. And Wallace has reached in both of her plate appearances so far tonight.
Whew. I think the idea was great. The off-speed pitch idea was great. I think just the location, it hung a little higher than you want, being ahead in the count, and it was pretty much over the white. So with a hitter like Skylar Wallace, that's an easier pitch to hit, a low changeup that hangs a little bit, and she was able to get a good piece of that one.
Even ball to strike ratio, not ideal.
And some of those may be debatable, but
if you ask the average Georgia fan sitting in the stands, they would tell you most all of them have been debatable.
49er strikes and one was a ball. What do you mean?
Feels like both pitchers have adapted a little bit more to the strike zone here the longer we've went. This one gets away from Lindy Ray Davis. And Wallace will take second. Wallace, the shortstop, is speedy. 28 for 29 on the season with stolen bases. And now in scoring position, it's a wild pitch charged to Walters. We'll move her around the 3-0 in there for a strike.
One thing I've always noticed about Florida, and this is probably a lot of coaching that goes into this.
This one to left. And against the wall, Goodwin making the catch, tagging up, throw to third, not in time. And good base running there by Skylar Wallace as she'll tag up and use that speed to put herself at third.
Good aggressive base running. You see the outfielder is going away from the ball, going to the wall. And with the speed that Wallace has, that's a no-brainer to be able to tag up on that. Because, again, outfield has to catch it. They have to stop. They have to make a throw. Mosley has to catch it, make a tag, which there was a cut in between. That's good, great aggressive base running.
So just one out and the runner at third. Ball gets away from Davis there. Quickly back up on top of it. 1-0 the count to Reagan Walsh, the designated player.
What I was going to say earlier is Florida never gets out of the way of the ball. And so they always have a lot of hit by pitches. And I respect that. I love that because they're in love with being able to get on base, pass the bat 60 feet. And you notice Walters does a really good job of going up and in on both sides of the plate. And you can see both lefties and righties, they're not moving at all. And we've seen a couple hit by pitches thus far.
They stand in.
Yeah, which equals free bases. And that's what you want.
That one crosses the zone, 2-1 the count. Walsh is 0 for 1.
Walsh and just the difference from last year and this year, and just the improvement in 1 year that she's had. And he was talking about how she has matured as a hitter, and I think you see that in the numbers. She's gotten more confidence. She's very self-made is what he said, with how she practices, how she takes everything they learn like a sponge and really puts it into the game. And you can see that with her offensive numbers this year, and really commanding the strike zone and becoming her own, being comfortable in her own shoes, not looking necessarily to other players like, hey, what are you doing? What do you do? Like, she's confident in what she does, and they've really worked hard on creating a strong routine for her to come in. And I think you see the change in numbers. It's allowed her to be comfortable in herself, and that's what you want. You want players to get better. You want players to develop and continue to learn year after year.
3-2 is ripped foul.
That might have made it to my truck. I hope not.
You hope not. You'll know when you get there.
I'll let you know. I'm gonna bill somebody. I don't know who, but
there's a lot of fan activity and activation going on out there in the walkway outside the park. So even outside the park there, you got to keep your head on a swivel. As this one chopped foul. And Walsh pulling hard there on that pull side.
And I think that's where Walters, her strengths come in with her screwball. She can locate really well on the inside. And a lot of these Florida hitters, they pull the ball. When it comes inside, they get around it, they pull it really hard. Not always being able to stay inside of it great.
Opposite
and
field.
Then can do that with the outside ball.
Drops in for a hit. That'll drive in the 4th run of the game for Florida. So work that pull side. You go opposite field and get an RBI.
And it's tough again with 3-2 count. You if you didn't have 3 balls, you would keep going in and see if you can get her to look or take or pop something up. But with 3-2, you don't want to give up free bases. You don't want to give up walks. That's just a good piece of hitting.
Bailey Goddard walked in the first inning.
Walters just needs to keep going right at them. They're going to swing. They're a big swinging team. They're very aggressive. They swing at a variety of pitches well. So Walters just needs to continue to go right at them and trust her pitches, trust her movement, and her defense.
Outside, count evens now 2-2. Ava Brown, who had a 2-run single in the first, she waits on deck.
In a 1-2 count, with how Florida's swinging the bat, you don't want to put anything over the white. You're ahead. See if you can get them to swing. You know they're going to be aggressive. They have 2 strikes. So again, it's like a chess match. It's a head-to-head. What are you thinking? What are we thinking? What am I going to do? Are you going to swing? Am I going to swing? So if you're ahead, you don't want to put anything close to the white at all.
Inside, and the count's full here, 3-2.
I think if Shelby Walters can get that inside pitch established, that's the one I think she wants a lot. He may be squeezing her a little bit more than she likes.
Yeah.
If she can establish that, because they're not swinging at it. If they are, they're pulling it hard foul. Like that.
So
if she can get it called for a strike, then I think she'll be in a lot better place than she is right now, because it's probably about 50-50 ball or strike, and then they're swinging and pulling all those. We haven't seen a lot of called strikeouts. It's either swing and miss or they're hitting it for outs.
Popped up. Kuma comes over from second and will make the catch in the outfield for the out. Two away. Long at bat, 8 pitches there.
Yeah, Florida, they're always aggressive. They always like to swing the bat. And you see so many foul balls. Every hitter, it's almost 2 or 3 foul balls guaranteed because they're ready to swing. And I think Walters can use that to her advantage, knowing that and being able to pitch to that.
Brown drove in a pair on a single in the first.
And you can see Walters really hammering the inside part of the plate on all these hitters. If you go back and look, I'm pretty positive, 99% sure, all the hits that Florida has been hit the other way, like oppo. And I think that if I'm scouting Florida hitters, what I'm not seeing right now is their ability to hit the inside of the inside pitch. They're spinning around, getting around that inside pitch and fouling it off. So I think that's why Shelby Walters is going hard in, hard in, hard in, hard in, and making him swing at those balls.
Pulled foul. Three up and 3 down in the second, sandwiched by a couple of lengthy innings. It has run that pitch count to 75. Here's the 76th. Popped up. On the run coming in is Goodwin. That'll be it for Florida here in the World Series. Back in 2021. Blue Harris Champers final season. It's a Georgia squad that got hot there at the end of the year and really put it all together. And we mentioned in the Open, went to Gainesville in the Super Regional and swept the Gators in 2 games. Ground ball over to first base. That's Avery Gels. One, 2, and 3 here for Georgia in the third. One 0 is fouled away, 1-1.
And I think we start seeing small adjustments here. Been to the lineup once already. Small adjustments, and see if Georgia can get on the bases and be able to produce some runs here.
Pop up here on the infield. Three-hitter Jada Kearney with 2 outs, bases empty. She'll jump on the first one. And this one will stay in the infield. And Wallace, the shortstop, will make the catch. A 1-2-3 inning here in the third. We go to the fourth. So Erickson, the RBI double to get the runs started, and then Brown driving in 2 off the single. It was a 3-hit inning for the Gators there in the first. 4 runs on 5 hits, 3 left. Georgia scoreless on a hit with 3 left, and this one will roll to right field for a base hit as Ariel Kowalewski drives that one in. 1 on and nobody out, and it'll be the 9-hitter Mia Williams.
And when we talked to Tim Walton this week, he talked about, offensive numbers, all that. But they want to be better. Every day you want to be better. And just talked about how many runners in the last couple of weekends that they have left on base, missed opportunities per se. And I think you see tonight being able to capitalize on those runners that they get on, whether it's free bases, hits, RBI doubles. Like you said, they now have 6 hits in 4 runs. So I think that they have had those conversations. They've talked about how do we get better, how do we maintain moving throughout this season. And it's all about situational hitting, whether you're putting a bunt down, sac fly, or getting the RBI double.
3 pitches have got a base runner in scoring position here for the Gators.
With a sac bunt just now. So they're really looking to move runners into scoring positions and then manufacture runs.
Two and 0 to Falby. Two and 1. She's 0 for 2 here tonight.
She has a lot of speed and she can do a lot of things well. And when you have a lot of speed, you create a lot of chaos on the bases. And you see right there a delay steal, maybe miscue, pitcher catcher throw. But with somebody up to hit like Falby with a lot of speed, there's a lot of options. Squeeze, a sneaky bunt, get her on, hold the girl at third, get her over to second, get in a pickle, or a sac fly.
Turned foul, and this will be a stolen base at third base, but look at the...
That might have been an automatic delay steal just to catch him off guard. Looked like Shelby Walters thought she might be throwing back to second, knowing there's somebody on second.
Yeah. The 3-2 will miss, and Falby is aboard with the walk, so it'll be the first time she has reached here this evening.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see movement on the bases here with Falby at first. She has 14 steals on the season out of 18 tries. And we have less than 2 outs. You have 1 out right now. You're trying to score runs, speed on the bases. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a straight steal, a delay steal, getting a pickle, try to get the runner home.
And she'll go to second.
Now 2 people in scoring position.
Florida incredibly aggressive. And we mentioned leading the SEC in stolen bases.
And a lot of times stolen bases aren't just for fast runners. It's a lot of times it's pitch count. What are we 3-0, 2-0? What pitch count are we in? Are they thinking about any stolen bases? Where's the shortstop playing? Are we stealing from second to third? Is there a lefty up? Is she pulled to the gap? Is she up the middle? There's a lot of factors that go into being successful at stealing bases. It's not only having fast people on the bases. It's being smart, being strategic, utilizing fast runners, just like you saw with Falby. Georgia doesn't want the runner at third to score, so they let Falby essentially steal second.
Taking there for the strike, 3-1 to count. So with Falby reaching, Mia Williams, the 9-hitter, is the only Gator to not reach here so far tonight. And this now just the 3rd trip through the lineup here for the Gators. And the bases are now juiced with 1 away. And Chelsea Wilkinson's going to emerge from the Georgia dugout to go talk with her pitcher. A little pep talk there. Will get a strike.
And that's what you want to see from Walters after that chit-chat. Go right at him with that outside pitch that she's been struggling to get called for a strike today. With a hitter like Wallace up, you want to make sure you go right at him hard, you hit your locations well, and you don't leave anything over the white.
.69 miles an hour on that last one there from Walters. We saw the ball strike ratio earlier, pretty even for the most part. Here's a ground ball. That one up the middle. That's going to plate 2. Throw home is cut off, and sliding across and scoring the 6th run of the game. It'll be a 1-out, 2 RBI hit for Skylar Wallace.
And you can see Wallace just takes that outside pitch back up the middle. Again, scores 2. And as a hitter, that's what you train for. That outside screwball, a backdoor curve, a low rise, whatever that pitch is, and whatever you're training for during the week, like, go back up the middle with it. Because a lot of times defenses will set up and buy into the pitch that you're throwing, and they'll be shifted a certain way. And if you're going outside, left field's shifted over, shortstop shifted over some. So if you can go back up the middle, that's a hit.
And Georgia's going to make a pitching change here in the 4th. 6-0 Florida. Will reset the pitching change here when we come back. So on senior weekend, senior Shelby Walters getting the start here on Friday night. She'll leave after 3 1/3. And will be responsible for the runners at first and second with 1 away. Georgia trailing 6-0. 7 hits, 6 earned runs. 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. And Florida's still aggressive on the base paths there.
Yeah, they are showing no mercy whatsoever. They want to score. They want to hit the ball. And you have a new pitcher come in. Do you think she's thinking about delayed steals? Probably not. You know, she wants to go right at the hitter.
And it's a double steal here. It's the first SEC appearance for Riley Orcutt since 2022. The 0-2 to left. Runners will check. Another run will come across, and it'll be an RBI for Jocelyn Erickson as she'll drive Corby Otis in.
And I think for Orcutt, this is a big situation for her and for Georgia, really, because you want to expand your pitching staff as you go into postseason. Teams know who you pitch the most. They have the most looks on them, the most scouting reports on them. So this is a big situation for Orcutt to be able to come in, immediately get an out. Obviously, there was runners at first and second. They both stole, but immediately getting an out, that's big.
There's Reagan Walsh.
And maybe knowing the strike zone has been a little smaller tonight, or at least it started that way, for Orcutt to come in and go right at them, confidence in her pitches, and trust her location. I mean, that's what you want from a pitcher that comes in relief.
2-1 the count.
And so now, because of the steals and delayed steals, that's in the head of Georgia's defense. That's in the head of Lindy Ray Davis. And as the team on offense, that's what you want to do. You want to create chaos in the minds of your opponent with just the smallest things. your leadoff on the bases, your body language in the batter's box. So many different little things that you can take advantage of, and Florida's doing a good job of that right now tonight.
97 pitches for Walters, only 51 of them for strikes. So just 5 more strikes than balls. And it was kind of that kind of day for her. And now sac fly RBI for Erickson. Got the second out. Here's Walsh walking. And pinch hitter here for the Gators. It's Avery Gales, who we mentioned came in at first base in the previous inning. She'll bat for Bailey Goddard.
And you see there Florida doing the same thing over and over again. And I think Georgia, again, getting caught off guard a little bit, and maybe at first not realizing you have to put the tag down, creating a pickle situation, bringing the runner home. And with 2 outs, you as the runner in that pickle, you either have to be safe or you have to stay in that pickle until that runner scores from third.
0-1 is popped up. Catch will be made in right field. Florida plates 3
runs. We talked to Coach Walton about that. When you get runners on, they want to find a way to get them around. And multiple times they were able to do a delay steal with multiple runners on and really take advantage of that. And so you saw in that last play, creating opportunities and then capitalizing on those opportunities that you create. And that's why the score is what it is right now.
Third to first.
And right now, Florida's in the driver's seat. They're in control of the whole entire game on all aspects: defense, offense, base running, pitching. Everything's clicking for them right now, and you can tell just the body language from Georgia and the body language from Florida. If I didn't know the score,
yeah,
I could tell who's winning, and I could tell who's confident, who's playing with confidence, who's trusting their abilities, and who's playing free right now. So I think for Georgia, it's important for them to continue to play like it's 0-0, scrap for 1 run, because if they're not able to do that, this game might be shorter than they wanted it to be.
Yeah, this is in run rule territory now here as we're in the bottom of the 4th. And if Georgia doesn't get a run this inning or next inning, game's over, as Florida would be leading by 8 after 5. And of course, Georgia being 1 hit here so far, the lone hit coming off of that of Dallas Goodnight to open the game. It has been quiet ever since for the Dogs.
And so I think win or lose this game for Georgia, the more important piece here is competing the whole time. You don't know when that inning is going to get up. You don't know if you're going to have another game after the one you're playing as you move into postseason. Sometimes it's you lose and you go home, or you win and you advance. So I think creating this opportunity right now for Georgia to compete for the rest of the game, however long that game is, and finding ways to win the inning, finding ways to win the at-bat that you're in, manufacture runs, move hitters over, and have quality at-bats.
Davis gets twisted up there and drives one back to the pitcher.
I thought that might have hit off her front foot. Maybe not.
Here's Sydney Kuma. She's walked. very efficient third inning there with 6 pitches. Just got worked up a little bit there in the second.
I think it's a combination of finding the strike zone, commanding the strike zone, and then as you see in the third and fourth, owning the strike zone and getting these Georgia hitters to swing, pop up, not put great contact on the ball. And that's why you see her pitch count is so low, because she is pitching great pitches, hittable pitches, not a lot of balls, really testing these Georgia hitters, and she's been successful thus far.
Kuma 358 now on the season.
But to be fair, when you have an 8-run lead, it is probably easier to pitch a little bit more free and confident.
Yeah.
Not a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
Woo! Tony Baldwin. That one didn't get him. It grazed it. I mean, he still dancing down there. He's got some speed still.
He might feel that a little later, how quick he jumped and jolted to get out of the way for that one.
Can't move so quickly.
May need to see the trainer.
No sudden movements down there as the 2-2 misses, and the count is full 3-2.
That's how you know you're still athletic as you get older, is when you can avoid bad situations by being athletic and getting out of the way quickly.
Jammed inside, and it's a 2-out walk for Sydney Kuma. That is one thing. Georgia being one hit, they have gotten 4 walks tonight. Georgia's gotten some runners aboard, and they've stranded 3. So Georgia's had opportunities here and there, but have never really been able to string anything together. It's been kind of sporadically spread out, and even when they've had folks on, just cannot get anything across.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference right now, aside from the score, is when runners are on, the mentality of the hitters manufacturing runs and moving the runner over, and what ball do I want to hit? What ball am I looking for? What is she throwing? What's my goal here? Am I going sac fly? Am I looking for something low and away, up and in? Really owning the situation and capitalizing on that situation, and really allowing yourself as a hitter to really buy in to your role and your job in that moment. You know, sometimes as a hitter, you want something, you want a certain pitch, you want to swing at something that you like swinging at, but sometimes you don't get it. So you have to abort that plan, and you have to compete, and you have to figure out and trust your ability to hit what she's throwing, especially if they're strikes. And you see Rothrock, last couple of batters, has gotten behind in the account. Georgia's making her pitch a little bit more than
3-1 the count. This one sent on a ride to center. Falby is there. Georgia.
When you have a chance to expand the pitchers that you're going to have pitch in postseason as you move into postseason, that's a good thing. So this experience right now, Riley Orcutt, and now with the pitching change we have here, being able to give them this experience in pitching in a game like this, let alone the score is 8-0, so this is a good opportunity, no pressure. They've already scored 8 runs, but for defense and for the pitchers to really compete and get back on offense, because you can't win without scoring runs.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to figure out a way to hit and get runs, but this is a good opportunity for these pitchers to get the experience to work their way into the pitching staff as you progress through this season right now.
Kistler is the batter here, 7, 8, 9 for the Gators. A couple of defensive changes for Georgia. As Marissa Miller now catching for Lindy Ray Davis. Jaden Fields is at first base for Emily Digby. And Kistler will walk to open the 5th.
Now batting for Florida, number 47, Ariel Kawaluski.
Ariel Kowalewski.
And I think it's important for Destin Howard here to just go right at him. You know, you don't want to give up free bases, and then they get a hit, and then people just keep moving around on the bases. You want to go right at them and give yourself a chance to be successful. And I think that's been the struggle tonight in the circle early on with Shelby Walters. Had to pitch a lot of pitches. Maybe the strike zone wasn't what she wanted it to be, but not being able to fully recover and get back on track with that. We saw her pitch a lot of pitches. We've seen a lot of walks on both sides of the field for Florida and Georgia. But the difference is Florida's been able to capitalize when they get runners on. And so right now for Destin Howard, really needing her to go right at these hitters and be able to let yourself be successful. Some outs and then get back in the dugout, and that way they can go hit again.
There's Mia Williams. Oh for 1, she sacrificed bunted in the 4th. Struck out looking in the 2nd. Chases that one, 1-2.
And Howard gets ahead here. That's great. That's a great opportunity for her. Really go at her. Make her earn something here. But trust your pitches. Howard pitches hard. Movement east and west. She has a good off-speed changeup. She can mix speeds really well. Just has to be able to have command over the strike zone and be able to locate her pitches better.
Two popped up. Two. Check swing. And held off there. Full count.
And that's a good competitive pitch with her curveball a little low and out. I think it was on the lower side for the umpire. Bring that up a little bit, and that's a strike all day.
Oh, and that one hits her in the head. She was ducking out of the way. It got her. So the bases are loaded now with nobody out. And she's going to walk that one off. They're having a good laugh down there, and definitely going to check on her to make sure she's all right.
Now batting for Florida, number 27, Kendra Baldwin.
Not a whole lot of time to get out of the way for sure.
No. No, she tried, but so now the base is loaded, nobody out, and the top of the order will stand in. Kendra Falby, and right in the ear hole.
Yeah, I shouldn't have any time to get out of the way of that one.
Not foul, behind quickly now 0-2.
And when you look at this from Florida's perspective, 7-8-9 got on base, 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and it brings your leadoff hitter up. That's what you want out of your lineup. That's what you want to be able to turn your lineup over. Give Falby, I believe, her 4th at bat of the night. They're getting a lot of walks, a lot of hit by pitches, free bases, and then coming in clutch with hits. And that's a big out for Howard right there to get Falby out, strikeout looking.
Yeah, just the 3rd strikeout by this Florida offense all evening. And now Corby Otis. Count 1-1. In the dirt, 2-1. Double a walk, stolen base for Otis today. She's scored twice.
Again, has a great eye, has the most walks on the team in this situation with bases loaded and 1 out. You don't want her up because she can hit, she has a great eye, gets a lot of walks, very little strikeouts, so she's putting the ball in play if she's not getting walked. And Howard has gotten behind 3-1. You got to get back on track here.
Got nowhere to put her. As this one is popped to center. Checking at 3rd and coming home standing is Kistler. She'll be Florida's 9th run of the game. Everyone will advance 60 feet, and there's 2 away.
That's the right idea for Goodnight on that ball, to get that ball in. Fields has got to be better in cutting that ball off, and she had a chance at 3rd, cut and go 3 or cut and go 2, and be able to get out of this inning. But another defensive miscue here for Georgia that's allowed Florida to extend this inning.
And if you're Florida, you want to just try to at least get the 1 run across, getting the bases loaded, because you're already in run rule territory, so you'd like maybe a run or 2 of cushion here if Georgia's able to put a run on the board in the bottom of the 5th. But if the 8-run lead holds here after the bottom of the 5th, game's over.
I would anticipate in any Georgia-Florida matchup in the sports world that it's all gas, no brakes, no matter what.
Wallace will ground out.
Base, moving runners around, and then scoring. They've scored every inning except the 2nd inning. They've had runners on. We've seen a lot of great base running. We've seen quality at bats with sack bunts, moving the runner. So offensively tonight, Florida really came to play, and you can tell.
And Georgia needing 2 runs here in the bottom of the 5th to extend the game. As we're in run rule territory, 8-9-1 for Georgia. And Jaden Fields standing in, and the 1-1 is smoked to left center. 1 more run needed to extend this one. A leadoff home run Off the bat of Jaden Fields gives Georgia its first run of the contest, her third of the season. And Georgia's on the board with its second hit of the day.
And the greatest part of that for me is seeing a player that last inning was in the middle of that defensive miscue, essentially allowed that run to score when that ball came in, and then put the team on her back and said, hey, that's my bad. I have a chance to take advantage of the opportunity I get to hit, and give Georgia their first run of the game.
Georgia continuing to fight here. And hard to believe that's just Georgia's second hit of the day. It's first since the first batter of the game for Georgia when Dallas Goodnight singled in the first.
Yeah, Rothrock has kept them at bay, certainly. But again, for Georgia, considering the score here, not thinking that this could be our last inning and finding a way to still compete is only going to keep you prepared and continue to be prepared moving through this season and going into postseason.
Chelsea Dobbins' third time that she...
You're not ever up by enough when you're facing a team like Georgia or Florida. So like I said, all gas, no brakes, no freebies. Don't want to give up walks. Go right at them, make them earn it.
Ground ball back to the pitcher. And one away will go top of the order. And shout out to our phenomenal crew getting us on the air and keeping things moving. Blake Hines, Beth Ann Nieblet producing and directing the action here tonight. And it has been a cool, blustery evening. Our camera crew out there braving those elements. Javi Gonzalez over at third base. As Goodnight swings at the first one, 0-1. Rachel Matron up top with us here. Brian Gierock out in center. And Johnny Baptiste over at first. 0-1 is fouled back, 0-2. Back at the control center, Hunter Beasley, Will Resch, Ross Bruglio, John Ostergaard bringing you these fine graphics. Jack Keys, Connor Bilbo, Aiden Daly all pressing the buttons and keeping us afloat here as the 0-2 goes high. Appreciate everybody making it happen for us here tonight. See you out there, Brian. One, two goes outside. We mentioned Goodnight, one of two Georgia hits here today. She singled on a 3-2 full count in the first to open the game. This one turned back foul. Haley Eaton waits on deck. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's having some really good long at-bats, really competitive at-bats, and you saw her first at-bat starting the game off with a hit, and right now having a long at-bat, making Rothrock really work, making adjustments. She's going with a rise ball. She's swinging, fouling them off. Rothrock's going a little bit higher. She's letting them go. So you can tell Goodnight has a plan. You can tell she's sticking to that plan, and she's not letting the rise ball get to her. She knows the height she wants to swing at, and if it's any higher, she's letting it go.
Knock away foul once again. Big crowd here at Jack Turner Stadium. 1826, the official attendance here this evening, and most all of them still here. A few folks have found their way to the exits. And what is Georgia's final homestand of the regular season? Game 2 tomorrow, 11 a.m. A little bit of an early start. Brunch with the Bulldogs here in Athens.
That sun's going to be brutal wherever it is. I can't remember where it lines up on this field, but those early games are brutal with that sun.
Yeah, high new start on Sunday as Goodnight patient there on the 3-2. She'll walk. So a runner at first and one away.
And that's a great at bat by Goodnight, being able to take a lot of pitches, swing in a lot of pitches, but ultimately winning the challenge between her and Rothrock, and really ultimately winning for her team and extending the inning.
Number 20, Haley Eaton.
And it will be Haley Eaton standing in, the senior, getting a pinch hit opportunity here in the 5th.
One adjustment that I'd like to see Georgia make, or have made in this game against Rothrock, because she goes to her rise ball a lot, has multiple different heights that she can continue to climb the ladder with, is really utilizing the mindset of hitting the top half of the ball. Because when you face a rise ball pitcher, that's the quickest way to get him out of the game, is if you buy into the idea of, I'm going to hit the top half of this ball because I want to hit hard ground balls, line drives, either to the fence or over the fence. But if you're steadily just missing or popping it up and hitting the bottom half of the ball when you face a rise ball pitcher, you're not going to have a lot of success. And you see a lot of the foul balls from the lefties and righties going into this foul territory right here at the net. They're underneath the ball, so the adjustment that they could quickly make, or should have made maybe sooner in this game and can still make, is really just buying into hitting the top half of that ball, because all she's doing is pitching that low rise, going a little bit higher, and then uses that off speed.
Chases that one behind 1-2. Little bit of trouble, and Kistler couldn't get there, but they'll get the out at second. 2 away.
It certainly helped that she's left-handed, because she didn't have to turn around and throw that ball. She just kind of picked it up and threw it, a laser over to second base to Wallace. And as a runner, there's not much you can do in that situation, because you don't want to run and they catch it. So you kind of have to stay in no man's land until you see if it's going to drop or if they're going to catch it.
This one is lifted to center. And that'll do it. Florida run rules Georgia in game 1 of this 3-game set. 9-1 the final score, and the